China, once seen as a backwater, now reigns as a global powerhouse. It is becoming increasingly clear that the story of China is the story of our time. Yet, while its ascendancy is undeniable, China is not without its challenges. China's story is layered, complex, and filled with unexpected plot twists. And one such twist lies hidden beneath its surface, a dark secret that could alter the course of its narrative. China faces a demographic collapse, with a predicted population contraction by over 125 million people by 2050. This is a stark reality that the world's most populous nation is grappling with. A country that was once teeming with a burgeoning population now faces a future where its people are dwindling. The projections are alarming, to say the least. By the time we hit the dawn of the 22nd century, China's population could well be under 1 billion. That's a drastic shift from the over 1.4 billion inhabitants recorded in recent times. It's a demographic shift of epic proportions, and it's set to redefine China's social, economic, and political landscape in ways we can only begin to imagine. But what does this mean in concrete terms? For that, we turn to population pyramids. A population pyramid is a graphical representation of a country's demographic makeup, divided by age group and gender. It's essentially a snapshot of who lives in a country and offers invaluable insights into the past, present, and future of its people. This is India's population pyramid. It reflects a growing population where each generation is larger than the one before. Notice how there's a larger number of young people versus their older counterparts. But why does this matter? Well, the shape of a population pyramid influences everything from economic growth to social stability. More young people mean more potential workers contributing to the economy and supporting the older generation. Now, with this understanding, let's contrast this with China's current population pyramid. This is China today, where you can see there's an imbalance where older people make up a larger demographic. What is worth noting is that demographics, once set, are near impossible to alter in the short term. They are, in essence, set in stone. As these generations age, they will inevitably reshape the country's demographic structure. Fast forward to the year 2050, and we see a dramatic shift. This is China's population pyramid in 2050, is now even more imbalanced with a massive cohort of middle-age and seniors. At the bottom of the pyramid, the younger generations are not recovering. The implications of this dramatic shift are profound and far-reaching. It's important to understand the causes of this demographic collapse. First, the one-child policy, a policy that only allowed families to have one child, was brutally enforced. Urbanization rates and small living spaces in Chinese apartments dissuade families from having children, as they simply do not have the space for more people. Sky-high rent in major Chinese cities and expensive childcare mean that many parents cannot afford to have children. It takes more than 6 times the median wage to buy a house in most major cities. Increasing anxiety levels in Chinese youth make it hard for many people to start families or intimate relationships. 30% of Chinese youth report having difficulty socializing. And lastly, higher life expectancy means that more senior citizens can live longer. Life expectancy is predicted to rise to 85 years old by 2050, an increase of 8 years from 2020. By 2050, we can expect a drastically different China. By 2050, demand for apartments in China is predicted to fall by 50%. The urban landscape will be dotted with ghost cities, silent witnesses to a time when the population was booming. The age-old human touch in care for the elderly may become a thing of the past, replaced by robotic caregivers. As the elderly population balloons, the demand for elder care will skyrocket, and we can expect more hospitals and senior homes. The senior population is predicted to make up 32% by 2040. The Chinese labor force is predicted to shrink by a staggering 25%. The political landscape will not be spared either. The healthcare system will be under immense pressure to cater to an aging population. Healthcare is predicted to make up 10% of total GDP by the year 2050, spending over $270 billion a year. Political pressure will be felt as taxes will need to increase to accommodate for the lack of people. The ethnic makeup of China may also change as ethnic minorities have higher birth rates compared to their Han Chinese counterparts, leading to a larger proportion of China coming from ethnic minorities. Now let's paint a picture of a possible future of China in 2050. A major tech company in Shanghai has launched a fleet of advanced robots to cater to the elderly population. These robots not only provide medical care but also companionship to the lonely elderly. Meanwhile, the government launched an aggressive propaganda campaign in 2041 that tells of the joy of having more than one child. The government uses subsidies and tax breaks to incentivize families to have more than one child, a reverse of the one-child policy decades before. Many schools now lay empty, and the ones that remain are used to fewer and fewer pupils every year. In Beijing alone, 45 schools close from 2030 to 2040. Ghost cities and abandoned apartments now are commonplace in every major city, and their ruins are now explored by adventure seekers and reclaimed by nature. Protests and riots about rising taxes and the raising of the retirement age, now 70 for women and 75 for men. Protests happen sporadically with a harsh crackdown by the government when they occur. 60% of senior citizens, especially those who come from poorer backgrounds, now inhabit overcrowded and underfunded senior homes. These homes are known as death homes, as to be put in one is said to be worse than death, due to the poor living conditions in them. Labor shortages push wages up, leading to inflation that eats up savings from normal people. The average wage is now at $30,000. The government heavily pushes for migration from Africa and Southeast Asia to make up for the shortfall, but is unsuccessful in making them stay long-term. Companies now advertise to an older demographic. Advertisements for walking canes, reading glasses, and senior homes are common. Ethnic minorities now make up 30% of the total population. They make vibrant communities in all major Chinese cities, leading to a renaissance in city diversity. This is just one possible future for China, but the future is still uncertain. These are just some of the ways that demographic collapse can manifest. China's population is declining and will shape how the country will look in 2050. From ghost cities to health, demographics will affect every aspect of China. I want to explain why I chose this topic for my Future of X assignment. I have an interest in geopolitics, and so the future of China is very important in that. I am an international relations major with a focus on East Asian politics. I am half Chinese myself, and I have seen demographic collapse firsthand when I was in China.